ALP's got about 470, 480 members. Most of them are in the third sector, the voluntary sector, about a third of them in the private sector, but 50 or 60 of them are colleges of further education. All of them are receiving some form of government funding, most of them through the Learning and Skills Council. Core business would be apprenticeships, train to gain, entry to employment. Though about 80 of them also do work for Job Centre Plus, working with the unemployed. It is a big issue now. I mean, interestingly, although we're having some real problems in trying to match the funding and provision at the present time, we are working in a situation where the economic downturn means that the government are more inclined to put more money into the sector, especially as they're now recognising that the kind of work we've been doing with employees, apprenticeships, train to gain, that kind of training is going to be critically needed for those who are temporarily out of work. We've been arguing for some years that the services for the unemployed should be training based, and they're purely on the same continuum as those who are in work. They're just temporarily out. Now the government actually accepted that, and interestingly it means that there's likely to be more funding coming generally in. There's nothing wrong with upskilling. In fact, it's a term I've used for many a long year, that the country overall needs to be upskilled. But we be very careful not to oversimplify and just take one words and then apply them in a very narrow way. The fact is that technology is moving so rapidly, and more rapidly year by year, that clearly a lot of the skills that have been developed become obsolete. And by definition, you are then talking about reskilling. So upskilling is a great word, and overall I'm quite comfortable with it, but it has to include the concept of reskilling. And it's very interesting, if you take the Train to Gain programme, that came in as an upskilling programme, and ALP argued from day one it had to incorporate reskill. We had to allow people to get their second or third qualification where it could be demonstrated that their first or second was now obsolete. That was forbidden for 18 months and we underspent. Suddenly the flexibilities come in and we've gone the other way. I think the coming into play of RDAs, or more specifically local authorities, is worrying us. I think at the present time we're looking for more and more providers who operate across nominal constitutional boundaries. That's just the way that the world of work works. And therefore suddenly to have restrictions possibly put in, if they're on this side of a local authority boundary or a cluster of local authorities and not, that could have an impact on the availability of funding for training. That doesn't sound right, and there's got to be a danger that those kinds of constraints come in, though no one is seeking them, not even the local authorities.